My name is Michael Potts, and I live on this Scepter 36-foot sailboat, and this is where I am today, the Erie Canal. Over the last 160 videos, I've made my way all the way from Toronto down the eastern seaboard into the Bahamas and back. In the next few videos, we're going to complete Season 6 and move on to Season 7 of Sailing EV. If you stick around to the end of this video, I'm going to show you a preview of what's coming next on the channel for Season 7. So stick around for that. In the last video, we made it as far as Lock 14 of the Erie Canal. You can watch that video by clicking the link in the top right screen. Before we move on, up the Erie Canal into the Oswego Canal, I thought it would be important for us to see what we're really up against. One main obstacle that stands in your way when getting past Lock 14 on the Erie Canal is Lake Oneida. This lake is relatively big and waves can build very quickly here, and if your mast is resting on top of your vessel, there is the risk of catastrophic failure and your mast falling off into the water. So you have to be really careful here and time it out right, and we're going to get into that. But before we get past Lock 14, let's talk a little bit of what we're up against here. What is the Oswego Canal? Let's talk a little bit about its history. The Oswego Canal was first completed in 1828, just a few years after the Erie Canal revolutionized transportation in the region. This 24-mile waterway was designed to connect the Erie Canal to Lake Ontario, transforming the small city of Oswego into a major trading hub. Before the canal, goods had to be transported overland or by unpredictable lake routes. But once it opened, Oswego became a gateway for the Great Lakes trade. Like the Erie Canal, the Oswego Canal relied on a series of locks to navigate the elevation changes between the Mohawk River and Lake Ontario. The system originally featured 10 stone locks, but as ships grew larger, the canal was expanded and modernized. Today, there are 7 locks, each playing a crucial role in maintaining the flow of commerce and recreation along this historic route. During the 19th century, this canal helped fuel the rise of the American Midwest. Grain, lumber, and coal moved freely between the Great Lakes and the Hudson River, providing a direct link to New York City and beyond. But its importance wasn't just economic, it was also strategic. Before the canal even existed, Oswego was already a key military outpost. During the War of 1812, the British launched a full-scale attack on Fort Ontario, right at the mouth of the Oswego River. They knew that controlling this waterway meant controlling access to the interior of the U.S. The battle left the fort in ruins, but the war cemented Oswego's place in American history. Today, the Oswego Canal is no longer a bustling commercial artery that it once was. The rise of railroads and highways took over much of its cargo traffic. But for recreational boaters like me, it remains a scenic and historic passage, one that offers a glimpse into the golden age of the American canals. In just a few miles, I'll be reaching Lake Ontario, where the freshwater seas of the Great Lakes open before me. But for now, let's take in the quiet beauty of the Oswego Canal.
It is day 3 and we are at Lock 14 here on the Erie Canal. I've had that heater running quite a bit every night, running for 8 hours. Really efficient. I'm going to talk about diesel heaters on boats in a future episode, so stick around for that. Man, I'm glad that the guy told me that it's kind of their responsibility now that I'm in the lock for them to make sure that I exit. So that's a good thing. It's really windy today, wind on the nose. It's all coming from the north. So let's untie the lines here and head. I gotta get diesel today and a number of other things. Head up the Erie Canal here, see how far we can get. Let's do this. right, so I'm here in St. Johnsville, New York State. All right, and this is a really great marina. So there's like a little indent here. It's a bridge. And I came in this morning and right away, Franny came up to me. She's like, hey, what's some diesel? Do you want to use the showers? You want to use the laundry? Go to the cafe. So I went in and had breakfast at the cafe, had a shower. I'm just finishing my laundry. I'm full of diesel, full of water. Mind you, the diesel was $4.50 a gallon. So it's a little expensive for diesel, but that's okay. It's about the right price in marinas here. What a great place. So if you're ever in St. Johnsville, come here and see Franny. She is absolutely fantastic. All right. Do you want to talk on camera? No? No. All right. Wow. Thank you. That's Franny. She is fantastic. So this place is actually a campground. All right. And if you walk over the bridge there's a whole, like, huge, not huge, it's a pretty big town. You get groceries, whatever you need. It's a great spot. We're in the mountains. I believe it's called the Adirondacks. And yeah, so just going to collect my washing and drying, and we'll be on our way. Lock 17 was pretty crazy. That was the biggest one yet. I wasn't really prepared for that one. I think the guy took it slow because he knew I was struggling with it. So not much progress today. I did laundry and stuff today. I had to get diesel. So we only covered 20 nautical miles today. It's better than nothing. It's a little windy out there. I could have made it for another couple hours, but it's really windy and it's Saturday night and this is a really beautiful place. Look at this. I'm gonna try and fly the drone for you when the wind calms down here. Maybe in the morning or at sunset tonight. We will see. Anyway, what a great experience. Love it. Just amazing, guys. You got to come and do these locks on a sailboat or on a powerboat. It's just something special. It really is. All right, it's a cold and rainy day. I've been running the heater all night. It's nice and warm inside the boat, but it's 8 degrees right now. It's raining a little bit. Look at the mist in the trees here. Isn't that cool? Lock 17. All right, we're gonna try and get up towards somewhere that way, 30 nautical miles northeast of here. And I'm plumb out of oil, so I need to figure that out. And it's really important because I just put the last bit of oil that I have into the boat. So we're gonna have to stop somewhere. Other than that, everything's fine. Let's continue on the journey. Lock 18. I was talking to the lockmaster And I was like, hey man, can you control the speed of the lock? And he's like, there's 3 positions for how much water, how fast it goes. And he start at 1 and then mid 2 and then at the end fills it up really quickly. And it was like, hey man, has any boats ever collided? Have you ever had a boat hanging? And he was like, well, some people tie off to the posts there and the lock goes down and the boat tips over and they can't get it undone, so they have to cut it. So that's happened. And I was like, hey, has anyone ever fallen in? And he said no, not on his watch, but he's heard about stories over the years. So it'd be interesting. I'm gonna start asking these lock personnel what their worst tragedy was, because imagine you fell in there. Oh man, this time of year it'd be cold. It's crazy to think I was in New York like last week and I was in my shorts. It was hot, I had my fan on. That's bizarre. So I guess we're high in the mountains. I think that's the issue. One lady was like, it's gonna snow in the Adirondacks. And I was like, oh my God, imagine it snowing here. Anyway, that's winter sailing for you. You gotta have the diesel heater, guys. I'm gonna do a full video about diesel heaters and Chinese diesel heaters and Robastos, because it's so important. Life is not fun out here when you're cold. Sailing is not fun when you're cold, okay? I do have a full enclosure here and I have the ability to pipe that hot air into this cockpit. And I probably will be doing that coming up here. I'm gonna put all the rest of the windows back on so that it's just a little bit, takes the frost off, the chill off, especially your hands. You gotta have gloves, you know, and you gotta be careful with diesel heaters. Some of the Chinese ones will avoid your warranty. And so you gotta have, you know, you gotta tell your insurance company, I installed a heater, it's a Webasto. And then, because if they find out your boat burns down because you bought a $150 heater on Amazon, they're not gonna pay out. So be careful in that regard. Anyway, Lock 19 is actually pretty close here. We're coming up to straightaways, and straightaways are kind of boring. And unfortunately, my autopilot belt just broke. So it lasted 6 years. So I'm very happy. I'm not sure if it's broken. It's just not working now. So I'm gonna have to take the whole thing apart. And nice little blue boat here. Hello. Look at that, eh? Going somewhere warm. Yeah. And well, it really does sadden me that I'm going into the cold, but it's a new challenge, guys. How do you know, this boat's obviously going to be winterized, and I'm going to live on it over the winter. So stick around. Those are going to be interesting videos. Rent in Toronto is very expensive, okay? And a good way to save money is by living on a boat, and it can be very comfortable. You can get hot water. You can get a nice warm boat if you do it right. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that coming up here. It's only going to be 4 months of it, and then I'm back to normal, right? We can do whatever we want. Go back down to the Caribbean, go over to Scotland. Who knows what we're going to do? Fix this boat on the hard. There are all sorts of things that's going to happen, so stick around. The next phase of the channel is coming up. All right. A lot of what you're going to see in the locks here is just distant views of mountains, that sort of thing. And it's a really beautiful place. It really is. You know, it's the Appalachian Mountain Range here, and you're in northern New York State. Very beautiful place. Now, I want to talk about something very important. All right, this boat. If you were to go, if you had the means and the ability to purchase a brand new yacht, I don't know if it's that great of an idea. My theory was I should purchase a beater and learn how to sail and really beat her up. The problem with buying a brand new Beneteau 424, whatever it is you're gonna scratch it up. You know, you're gonna make a bunch of mistakes doing any serious sailing as a single-hander. You know, it's better to buy something that you can kind of beat up, and you can really dig into the problems that happen on an older sailboat, so you understand the systems. I really believe that strongly, and I'm glad that I purchased this thing because I have beaten her up. And you know, everything's failed on this boat, with exception to a few of the items like the rigging and that sort of thing. I mean, my autopilot just failed. I broke the belt, or it's not doing what it usually does. So it lasted 6 years. Everything on a boat, even if it's a brand new Amel, you know, 2024 Amel whatever it is, the Amaramu or the Super Maramu or whatever it is, you're gonna have problems. You're gonna need basic tools, and you're gonna have to troubleshoot the systems. What I like about a beat up boat that you kind of wire yourself, and you really get the grasp, the concepts of the systems on a boat that you really need for long distance sailing. And I feel like, in my opinion, you know, I'm very experienced now in terms of this boat and what it really needs. If I had an unlimited budget to fix this boat up to cross the Atlantic, let's say, I know exactly what I would need. Even though I haven't crossed the Atlantic, you know, I have a good idea of what I need, and the tools that I need, and you know what it's really like out here. When, you know, I've been on this boat for a year, sailing every day. So, in future videos here, pretty much by the time the winter's over, I'll be back in Canada on the channel. But once I'm back in Canada on the videos are going to change. I'm going to be talking about my strategies that I've learned over the last 6 years of sailing this boat under 10,000 nautical miles. And you know, I really want to pass on to you guys the things that I've learned. And it's crucial that you understand some of the basic stuff that you're really going to need. If you want to be out here like me, you want to, you know, sell your home and come out here and sort of retire and be on the water, there's so much to learn, and it costs you so much money at first because you don't realize what you can really get away with. Most people, oh, I gotta stay in a marina, I gotta go to, you know, haul out, you know, it costs a lot of money. There's ways to cut corners and still do it safely and effectively, and I think it's better to do it on your own. Don't hire a guy to come in and fix your boat. Fix it yourself. Anyway, that's the point. Just dwell on that. Stick around for future videos, because I think there's going to be a lot learned on the channel. If you really like these sort of videos, do me a favor, hit the like button right now. Hit that button. Make a comment down below, even if it says nothing. It helps the channel grow, and you know, I'm out here to help you, the cruising community, all right, that want to live in anchorages, on oceans, and in marinas all over the world. So I gotta stop. There's a Walmart right there. I'm gonna walk in and see if I can get the right oil for this boat. There she is. I love my boat. I really do. She looks so rough, eh? She really does. I gotta clean that hull, give her a paint job. Oh, she's gonna look good when I'm done with her, I'll tell you. I might paint her that green color that I like. The color of that symbol on the top bottom right screen. Maybe. We will see. Everybody's been looking at me in this hat and this suit here. Who's this guy? One guy even came up to me, he's like, foggy day, eh? Like, that was Canadian. Yeah, like, this guy's Canadian for sure. Anyway, it's got a good deal on oil, 17 bucks. Usually it's 34. So I bought 2 of them in that Tractor Supply place, and it's like a 7-minute walk from where I was there, and that's it. Now we're good. That's the last of my money, literally. Once I pull that mast down, I'm gonna be at 0. Holy, until YouTube pays me. Thank you, everyone. Hit the like button. Make a comment, it really helps me out, keeps me out here. All right, let's get back to the boat and start heading north. We're really behind schedule here, I'll tell you. Oh, yeah. What a day. Just gross out. Oh man. Look, this boat's from Fort Lauderdale. Somebody must have drove it all the way up here. All right, dinghy's still there, we're good. Let's get back to the boat. She really does look beat up. Man, I really need to clean that hull. Look at it. The lock's really beat her up. Unbelievable. Can't believe what just happened. I've had that anchor since I got into Florida. I actually found it like on the bottom of the seafloor when I was diving. And I used a grinder and grinded it off so it looked new. And I put it away. And had I have not put it away, those Bruce anchors are no good in the Caribbean. They're useless, in fact. So I had to switch it to that one, which has been really good. The problem is it's not, as you can tell in other boats, it's not meant for this boat. Every time I bring it up, you have to really crank on that chain to get it up because it's got such a long fluke, right? It's called the fluke anchor. And there we go. That was a relatively new shackle, like 6 months. That was on there, and it just broke, and the anchor's gone. So I'm going on Lake Ontario. The anchoring's not hard there. I don't need a big anchor like that. That's more for the Bahamas. So yeah, it's too bad I lost the anchor, but you can actually buy those for about $75. So it's worth $100 US. It's not that big of a deal. I don't really need it. I have 2 other anchors, right? So yeah, it is what it is. I think I will get another one of those because it was so successful. Such a great anchor. It's just bringing it up is such a pain. So I'm gonna have a stash of shackles. I'm gonna have to grab another anchor shackle now. And you should never be on a boat that doesn't have an available anchor. So now I gotta go up front and put that shackle on and put the old anchor on, which is fine. Like it was okay the entire East Coast going down, except for Atlantic City. So yeah, kind of sucks. I really like that anchor, but anyway, I'm gonna get like a CQR or something better. Anyway, it's not a big deal. I'm glad all this is happening at the end of the trip. So far, I lost a really good hat my mom knit me yesterday. The autopilot belt is broken. I think it's the change in temperature, personally, and a bad shackle that lost that anchor. Unbelievable. I'm glad it happened here and not somewhere else, like a year or 2 from now, right? And I was lazy and didn't put another shackle on there, and it just broke when I was like in a storm. So man, I might even double shackle the next one because that was scary. So that was lock 19, and after lock 19 it's notoriously shallow, and I don't think you would be able to make it through here with a 7-foot draft. There are spots, you know, right now it's at 8 feet, but a minute ago it's down to 6 feet, so you probably could, because I know I adjusted this so it's a foot off. So I think the minimum here is really 6.5 feet at the absolute lowest. But this straightaway right here after lock 19, very shallow. Watch out, lots of logs in the water, and so just be careful.
So one thing I need to reiterate here is if your engine fails, you are done for. I mean, absolutely important that you know your engine is working fine and in good condition and has oil, and that you know, check your exhaust system, make sure there's water coming out of that. You'll see in some of these clips here that there's steam coming out of there, and that's something that's been plaguing this boat, and I will be working on that in the future. In future episodes, I'm going to rip the engine out, and really, you know, it needs a new exhaust elbow is what it needs. So it's kind of crucial. I know most people, when they're coming back up through this canal, they're returning from the Bahamas, so their boat's going to be beat up like mine. But one thing you really want to do is just keep an eye on that engine. I wasn't pushing it at all here. That's why some of these clips are long. You know, I was only doing 3.5 knots. There's no, once you get over the hump and past Lake Oneida, the flow goes the other way into Lake Ontario. So you pick up a knot. But again, make sure that engine's good and you should be fine.
Day. And I made it to Lake Sylvan. Lake Sylvan is right there. There's actually some swell out there. And I think, hey, look at that. Is that a power hookup? Official use only, huh? Shore power only. Please. Shore power. Look at that. All right, so, well, I made it to Lake Sylvan. What a miserable day today. It's downpouring. I'm absolutely soaked. We did 25 nautical miles today, which isn't much, but I still think I can get out of the lock by the 16th in the afternoon. I'm sure of it, actually. So even if not, it's not a big deal. They said they'd get me through. So that's Lake Sylvan right there. And there's actually big swell out there and white caps. I don't know if it's safe to do that with this mast here. I'm going to go do some research on that right now and get warmed up and dried up here. This is just brutal. It's not fun when it's cold, guys. It really isn't. I think I've kind of forgotten about how cold water sailing really is not that fun. If you got the right gear, at least I got the heater and shit, so. All right, it's a little later in the morning. I had trouble getting up this morning. I wanted the lake to flatten off a bit. That's my excuse. And it has, so. What I'm gonna do is try to get across this lake and I'm gonna figure out I'm just gonna put in the chart plotter Oswego, and we'll do half the distance today and half the distance tomorrow. That's the plan. All right, let's get out of here. That was crazy. Out in the middle there, the waves were absolutely huge and the wind was torrent, and the bow was smashed through the waves, and I was really worried. I actually thought this thing was going to come down at one point and it's shuddering. And this mast is now meant to be up here in heavy weather, right? So anyway, I'm hugging the shoreline here. There's 20 feet of depth. There's a bunch of reefs. There's a big reef right there with a bunch of birds on it. And I seem to be doing much better than I was. I almost turned around. I was like, nah. One of the diesel cans came loose, so I got them all lined up here now, and there's a bunch of diesel that escaped. But I think we'll make it across the lake now. But before, I was like, nope, we got to turn around, because had this mast come off onto my head or onto this bimini or onto something, it would have been quite a situation. That, you know, I could have been hurt or I could have lost the mast. So, shit. Anyway, I'm just glad that it's a lot calmer than it was, because a minute ago, I was scared. I was like, oh my God, this was a bad idea. You know, to think that I almost continued on yesterday when it was really windy and wavy out here, the smart thing to do was to trust my gut, stay in. That's why I didn't sail, that's why I didn't continue on yesterday afternoon. So I'm worried about this mast coming down.
So this is the last challenge here until we get to Oswego. It's just, I got 8.51 nautical miles. I'm doing 3.1 knots just because I'm banging through the waves here. We can just get there. We'll be all right. Let's continue on.
Across now. Look at that. Can't even see the other side. Wow. I didn't expect that to be so scary this time. Alright, so we have 32 nautical miles left to Oswego. Wow. Isn't that crazy? I was cleared in Charleston and there we are, 32 nautical miles away. I'm going to be very happy to get off of this lake here on Lake Oneida and get back into the canal heading north. We're not going to go too much further because there's only 30. I figure I can do 25 by 6 p.m. tomorrow. So we're going to go until there's 25 nautical miles left, which is literally another 8 nautical miles. So a couple more hours. It's about 3 o'clock right now. So yeah, it's about right. The sun will be going down. It's all possible now. Everything's holding up so far, knock on wood. There's just big gusts of wind, and the waves in the middle of that lake were very big. They were close together, but very steep, and I was smashed. Anyway, let's get in there. Crazy. Officially in the Erie Canal. Would you believe that? Crazy. Going across Lake Oneida was not fun today. I was worried at one point that this mast was just going to fall off. It was so rough there. So we did it. We're in the Erie Canal. Mind-boggling that we've actually gone all the way to the Bahamas and all the way back here in that time period. So there's a bit of weather coming in. See that old cloud layer right there? It's going to bring in a bunch of rain. It definitely is warmer here than on the other side of Lake Oneida. In the center, there was crazy waves, and then it got warm. It was weird. So anyway, this is lock 23 coming up here, Erie Canal, lock 1 of the Erie Canal, lock 23 of the canal, New York canal system. So I'm going to try and get on the other side of it. And then we've done our 25 nautical miles for today, so I think we can do 25 tomorrow and get to Oswego. I don't want to push the engine any harder, and I'm cold and wet, and you know, I'm gonna make some good food and have a beer and relax at the lock. I think that's what I'm gonna do anyway. So let's get in there, let's get on the other side of the lock, and I'm gonna talk to the lock master this time and say, hey, listen man, I know the lock closes tomorrow, but I need to get to Oswego. I need to be on Lake Ontario by tomorrow night. And I'm gonna get him to call the other locks and say, hey, there's one more boat coming up the lock, all right? So let's get in there and see what happens.
Wow, this has been a long video, and I appreciate everyone sticking to the end. As promised, I'm now gonna roll the preview of Season 7 of Sailing EV, so you can get an idea what we're dealing with. Now, there's a clip on the end of this video that is very long, and it contains crucial information if you plan on sailing a boat across oceans. A very experienced captain goes into detail about EPIRBs, MOB, and procedures when, more than 500 miles offshore. So check that video out right now. I'm going to let the clip roll right now. Thank you for everyone sticking around to the end. Next week, we'll be getting into Lake Ontario and back to my home port. Isn't that crazy? So stick around for that video. So now let's get into the preview of Season 7. When I arrived in Antigua in early January of 2025, something really struck me like a lightning bolt. To think that a place like this exists. When we sailed into that harbor, everything changed for me. I mean, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. So many boats, and so many cool people that are into boats, and that's all they want to talk about is boats. And everyone is on a boat, and it's just paradise. I mean, I can't describe it to you. And believe me, I did my best over the week and a half that I was there. I think I probably have, it could be, 10 episodes. But this is a Patreon only video. And I was looking at some comments on Patreon today, and some of you were mentioning, if I watch it now, then I won't have anything to watch on Sunday. So I thought I'd put out a little preview of what's coming up on the channel. Nelson's Dockyard, for one, was the most peaceful, beautiful place to explore and to bring a sailboat. And to be in that harbor, to have access, to walk around those streets, I mean, it's just something really special. So that will be in up and coming episodes. It was the strangest thing. I got a call, and all of a sudden, there I was on an airplane in Bermuda on White Diamond, about to leave and travel in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. And, such an honor to be there with Captain Tom Wood, because he really knew what he was doing, and he was confident. And I hope what transmit through the videos that this is possible. You can do this. We can sail across oceans. If you, with the right gear and the right know-how and the right experience, it is possible. And I really think there's some value here in these videos.
Bermuda radio, White Diamond, over.
White Diamond, Bermuda radio, good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you, Bermuda radio. This is White Diamond. We're getting ready to head out of the harbor and head for Antigua, over.
That's fine traffic-wise. How many people do you have on board?
We have 3 people on board, including the captain, over.
Just being there, being able to leave Bermuda and see how it's done, what gear you need, what size vessel is needed for 3 people to be on for 6 days or more. These questions all get answered. And the great thing about Tom Wood is he took control, and he loved to talk into that camera and explain his view on things. And it's really amazing. I'm gonna leave an example at the end of this video of him talking about how to install an EPIRB. That's why I'm uploading this video. Something for you guys to get some value out of. Believe me, these episodes are coming up. I had to stick with the timeline. And as I speak right now, I'm in Belleville, Ontario. It's like minus 14 outside. You know what I mean? It's crazy. There's a snowstorm. I got a job out here working. I'm doing everything in my power to upload the videos and to keep the channel running. And I'm so excited to tell you guys what happens after Antigua. I mean, I don't want to tell too much just quite yet, because it's like a month from now or 2 in terms of videos, but everything is really coming together, and this boat needs to be torn to bits and rebuilt for the ultimate sailing adventure. And next time I leave the dock, I'm never coming back. And so when we got into Antigua, like I said, it was a big deal. And what I learned on that 6-day passage, I'm going to transmit to you guys. I'm going to show you guys exactly what it takes. And that's why I'm going to leave you with this little clip here of Tom Wood talking into the camera about EPIRBs and MOB, because it's so important. So I'm going to be releasing more of these videos. Of course, you guys will get weeks ahead of any videos being on YouTube in terms of Antigua. It will be here on Patreon. So hit the like button, guys. Leave me a comment down below. Tell me what you think. Here's a little snippet of what's coming up on the channel.
So any wise sailor that's going to do any serious offshore passages should have one of these. Okay, so this right here is an EPIRB, an electronic position indication beacon.
Actually,
And
it's only no, it isn't. That is an AIS beacon.
Oh, this is an AIS. Okay, they look very similar to.
They do, and in fact, this one has both.
This lets the boat come back to the wayward sailor.
Yes, so the PLB, which is like an EPIRB, sends a satellite signal, gets picked up by the Coast Guard, so they know where to send the ships or the helicopter. The AIS beacon sends out a signal just like another boat, and it will show up on the chart plotter of any vessel that's in range for the AIS. So this allows the vessel to find you.
Wow. So that is great. You're going to see it as a dot on a chart.
That's right.
And you can cruise in position, because usually you're lost in the waves, right?
Yep.
You can't see shit. It's nighttime, you're screwed. I mean,
And line
usually
of sight.
guys are gone.
Yeah, and it's
Right.
line of sight.
So if you have the misfortune of falling overboard in the first 30 minutes of your shift, and no one wakes up for 4 hours,
That could be a problem.
that's a problem.
Yeah.
In an attempt to keep watch time down on this video, if you really want to see the rest of that video, it's free on Patreon. You don't have to sign up. You just got to become a member. It's free on Patreon. You can watch the entire video and learn crucial information that Captain Tom Wood passes on to us. If you really want to know what it takes to cross oceans, the type of gear you need for safety, it's a must-watch video. I'll leave the link in the description down below. Hope you enjoyed this long video, guys. Appreciate everyone sticking to the end. Click the link in the description down below. It takes you to my Patreon page. You can become a member. It's free, okay? And you can watch that entire video. All right, that's it for this video. Captain Michael signing out. Next week, we're going to get into Lake Ontario after being in the Bahamas for 1.5 years. Crazy. Hope you enjoyed the video. Captain Michael signing out.